You guys remember that movie, Gravity? The one with Sandra Bullock's and the Clunemeisters. I think that's what his wife calls him, George Clooney. Typical space movie, typical space station astronauts procedure. They're all very safe and precautious and all that. But the one thing they couldn't figure out how to do was to open a door on the space station. Every time they opened some kind of portal or panel, then they would forget to depressurize, or there was some kind of explosion on the other side, they would just go flying across the side of the space station, flapping like ragdoll. I remember seeing that with a bunch of my friends, and for like a week after, anytime we'd open a door, whether it be a car door, whether it be like to the school or like to a friend's house, we'd swing open, grip the door handle, and just start flailing our arms and legs like we were depressurizing the space station's cabin. Occasionally freaking out people like, what the hell? It was fun.
Hey, look, you mind not breathing all over me, man? I'm trying to work here.
Okay, so now go to www.soccermom.com.
Kid never heard of mouthwash. Is this the website?
No, you typed it wrong. There are two S's.
Whoa! Hey now, don't look at this. This isn't for children to see. Better close this little. Stupid computer froze up. Hang on, I'll reboot. This is probably gonna take a minute.
You are a fucking hillbilly! You are a hillbilly! I am a god compared to you! I live in a penthouse! You are a fucking hillbilly! You live on a farm!
That's the opposite of what I was saying. That's the
Now you wanna get nuts! Come on!
Shit. Come on. I used to be able to. I used to be coordinated enough to where I could do this snapping thing, but now excessive years of drinking and my hands are kind of freezing up. Trying to keep it loose. Yeah, keep it loose. Loose. Speaking of loose. Hi, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the edition. I'm not really sure what this is. I don't know. I just want to make some videos talking on YouTube or something. I used to run around the country, traveling for my old job and visiting friends, getting drunk, cooking in crazy kitchens and stuff like that. And that was my social interaction. These last 10 months have drastically changed. We all know that. We've all been through it. Yada yada yada. We're still going through it. We still will be. But I wanted to do something different. Aside from working 3 jobs and barely making enough to survive like I used to, I wanted to do some recordings on the weekends. Try and just see what happened, what crazy stories happened over the weekend, what fascinating, historic moments and world-breaking record bullshit, just little lighthearted stories, because I know things have been tough. I mean, geez, this whole week has been counting votes and dealing with all political stuff. It's an election year and a very tumultuous time. So is that a word? Is tumultuous a word? I don't know. I'm making it a word. The other thing that I should include about this podcast is I usually do it pretty blitzed. I just trying to get my nerves up, energy up, miss this stuff. Yeah. But anyway, talking about space, I was reading about this article this weekend. Pretty fascinating. Astronauts arrive in Florida on Saturday for this awesome launch. The Crew 1 for the, what was it? The, what is shit? SpaceX Dragon capsule. Yeah, the Dragon. They named their crew Resilience. You want to know why they named their crew Resilience? They said, the spacecraft's commander, astronaut Michael Hopkins, said the crew chose the name Resilience because of the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. We feel like if the name of our vehicle could give a little hope, a little inspiration, even just put a smile on someone's face, then that is definitely what we wanted to do. And we feel like Resilience was the name that did that. I was reading this article. I was really interested. You know, it's pretty fascinating stuff. This is a huge leap in human space flight. Talking about Dragon, the commercial space flight. They're testing for commercial flights for people to be able to buy tickets to the International Space Station and eventually beyond. You know, it's under NASA's Commercial Crew program, so I mean, it's all Elon SpaceX owns it, and it's the first capsule for like years that NASA hasn't owned that was shuttling personnel. It's nuts, man. And they launched Saturday. I'm pretty sure they made it up there. I haven't followed up on this story, honestly. I mean, I read this about a day ago, but that blurb there at the end from the commander cracks me up. Just where he's like, we're really cheesy, and we thought that Resilience might help people a little bit. Jeez. Hopkins, Commander Hopkins, 51, plans to be sworn in as the first U.S. Space Force astronaut during the mission. Space Force. I keep forgetting about that. I keep forgetting that in the disaster that was Trump, he developed the first Space Force. I don't even know if you can legally. I don't even know anything about politics or anything about government shit. It's just maybe that's real, maybe it's not. I don't know. It feels like this has been a fever dream for the last 20 months. I don't know. Commander Hopkins will fly with pilot Victor Glover, 44, and 2 mission specialists, Shannon Walker and Tsuyoshi Noguchi. I'm probably saying that wrong. Both 55. Noguchi is a Japanese astronaut. Glover is also the only crew member who hasn't flown into space. It's hard to put it into words, really. I mean, you know, the thought of flying in here and rocketing out, it's just surreal. That's a quote from Glover. Previous crewed SpaceX capsule, which returned to Earth on August 2nd, was a test flight that carried 2 astronauts. I remember that. I remember watching about that. They spent 2 months in orbit. This one, they're actually going to the space station and will be adding to the crew. The upcoming launch will boost the number of astronauts living on the space station to 7 for the first time in years. Pretty fascinating stuff. Oh, and there's Shannon Walker. She's another woman astronaut on here. I don't know if she had previous flight experience up there. It didn't really mention it in the article here. I don't know. That's kind of cool, you know, space stuff. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Space, NASA. Back down to Earth, though. Talking about, this is a really fascinating. Talks about the future of just travel. You know, how we get around. It was on horses, and then the railroad, and then, you know, mechanical horses and cars and all. You know, just the evolution of transportation, you know, civil engineering and all that future. What's the next step? We've been driving cars for, you know, 100 some years or something like that. Feels like forever, but that's, you know, not how time works. I don't know. This really looks cool, though. I'm pretty stoked for this. The Virgin Hyperloop. Have you guys heard anything about this literal subway tube that travels at like 600 miles per hour? Is it? It's 600 miles per hour. It looks like the fucking tubes from like Futurama, you know, like the people standing in and just flying around in a pressurized tube. It's terrifying. It's like we're all little marbles made of flesh and bone shooting through there at 600 miles an hour. Apparently they tested it over the weekend. They tested this test facility. Yeah, where is it? Virgin Hyperloop envisions building these systems, connect cities, Las Vegas. Pretty sure they said it was outside of Las Vegas. Because this is the 100-meter loop that they have built outside of Vegas. And what they want to do is, for their next project, they want to build a 6-mile test facility outside of West Virginia. A $500 million test facility in West Virginia. Walder said that the pods at the facility couldn't reach 600 miles per hour, but declined to share how fast they would actually go. The test facility is being built to certify technology, just a proof of concept. Walder also believes that the company's Hyperloop system will be certified in 2025 or 2026. That's recent. That's really close. I was expecting like maybe 2030 or something, 2040 maybe. But that's real promising. They said they got in the test pilot, the test capsule, and it has seats. It's like a subway looking thing. And they got up to like 100 some miles an hour, but they just wanted to prove that they could do the magnets and that it was functional. Like even the chief, who was it? I think they said like the chief technical advisor? Yeah. Josh Geigel, Virgin Hyperloop's chief technology officer, and Sarah Lucian, its director of passenger experience, they took the first ride. They sat in the Hyperloop's 2-person pod, included seatbelts, plush seats, small windows, and zoomed away. Let's see. The pod only reached 100 miles an hour on the track, according to the company, rather than the 600 mile per hour that Hyperloop advocates have long promised. Advocates long promise? It's a sentence that I just can't say for some reason. Virgin Hyperloop says its track is only 500 meters long, limiting how fast the pods can actually go. So it's still just a proof of concept. But that's really ambitious. I mean, I know cars people, they're always like, yeah, we want full electric cars, by this time and all that stuff. And they like to move up the years just to fool you. Get the consumer what they really want. Get the consumer to buy. That's cool. Make the world your weapon. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Virgin Hyperloop isn't alone in its interest in Hyperloops. Naturally, Elon Musk and Tesla and SpaceX announced the concept for a system back in 2013. Wow. And in 2017, Musk tweeted, God, why does everyone tweet everything? It's not an official way of announcing news. It's just, social media. That's another tangent. He tweeted that he had verbal government approval to build a tunnel from Washington, D.C. to New York, in which trips could take 29 minutes. That's amazing. Wow. Oh, wow. Think about that. And think about this travel. They're still doing this project even after all the COVID procedures and such. I mean, I guess it's only a 2-person pod, but how many people are going to be using those pods? Let's just hope something happens with COVID before we get to actually use these capsules and they're made safer. Musk's his Hyperloop venture, the Boring Company. What? His name is seriously the Boring Company. Wow. That's it's got to be a person's name, right? It has to be a person's name. Boring. It can't be like. That sounds so generic. It's just like, we're the business company, like this is a front for space alien thing. I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy nut either. I like to think I am. I like to think about conspiracies and read about them, and I listen to podcasts all the time about conspiracies, but in the end, my brain is like, it's just an old sponge, it absorbs water for about 10 seconds and then it dries up. Retention is low. Virgin Hyperloop was founded as Hyperloop Technology in 2014. Richard Branson joined its board of directors in 2017 and the company's name was changed. Ew, okay. Huh. It's really cool. It's a vacuum tube with maglev suspension, much like the maglev transit today. That's really cool. That's really cool. Just imagine that. Just being able to be like, oh shit, I got a meeting in DC and I'm in Vegas right now. I gotta get there in less than 20 minutes. That's amazing. I wonder how much tickets would run for that. And where would they run it? They said it's functional above ground and below ground, but would they... I mean, burying a tunnel like that would take considerably more time and resources. I don't know. It's pretty fascinating stuff. Technology. You can't stop technology, man. COVID can't stop technology. Man. Yeah. So far we've covered space and technology and talking about the future and stuff. Why don't we bring it back down to earth a little bit? Talk about the natural world, natural order, everything in nature, what's been going on lately in the world. And I saw this just article. I love if it has a good punchline, or if it has a good like article headline that just kind of what? Wait, what? Kind of catches what? You know, just you just read it and you're like what? You know, ugh. Exotic lizard rescued after 3 days on power line. Yeah, let me read that again. Exotic lizard rescued after 3 days on power line. There's a lot of questions there. There's a lot of questions. How exotic we talking? We talking about some kind of like boa constrictor? We talking about like some kind of basilisk? What kind of bug? What kind of lizard we got up there? You know, rescued. He was trapped. He was trapped up there, the poor thing, and for 3 days. 3 days. 3 days. Someone saw that. I don't know. Here we go. November 6th. This was on November 6th, so that was on Friday, I think, or Saturday. Friday. I don't even know what day today is. Animal rescuers in Pennsylvania said a chameleon was rescued after being stranded on a power line for 3 days. The Peninsula Humane Society and SPCA said personnel responded to a neighborhood in Daly City, or Daly, it's D-A-L-Y, where a caller reported an exotic lizard, quote unquote, had been clinging to a power line for 3 days. The organization said officials spoke with an electrical line worker to develop a plan to rescue the chameleon. Rescuer ended up using a wooden-handled tool to capture the chameleon in the net. Officials said that the lizard attempted to cling to the line, but was eventually pulled free and brought back to the ground. Chameleon is now in care of the Peninsula Humane Society. That's good. It is, which says, here they are saying a little bit more, the animal is believed to be an escaped pet or an escapee from a pet store. And this is a quote. Since these lizards are native only to Africa, the chameleon is either someone's exotic pet or an escapee from a pet shop. To date, we haven't found a lost report that fits this little animal. Oh, that's spokeswoman Buffy Martin. I'm sticking with that voice. But we are well prepared to find a suitable home that should prove necessary. Should that prove necessary? Should that prove necessary? That should prove necessary. Should that prove? It's funny. Exotic lizard. It's just a little baby chameleon, and he was stuck on a power line for 3 days. That poor guy didn't know what was going on. But then, some nosy neighbor, jogged past there 3 times and was like, huh, that's a weird looking squirrel, he's got scales, and oh my god, it's a lizard. And we need to get him down from there. That's just, that's sad. I hope that lizard finds a good home. And, he doesn't go climbing around any more power lines. This one really kind of freaked me out because it's one of those irrational fears I have about the ocean. Yeah, I like it. It's cool. I've been to it like a handful of times. I swim in it rarely though. I saw a manta the one time down in Florida and freaking screamed and ran out of the water. Scared the shit out of me. I don't know. Something about not knowing what's underneath. I'm fascinated by it. I love nature. I love sharks. Sharks are like my favorite animal. They're some of the coolest things on earth. They're freaking amazing. Hyper-evolved oceanic predators. But this is another fear I have about the ocean. Like being on a small boat or kayaking out near deep water and not knowing what's underneath you. And this could be some kind of like freaking leviathan that comes up and swallows you. Yeah, we've all had that fear. This actually happened This was on November 4th, so it was a little before the weekend. But California kayakers end up in mouth of a humpback whale. Yeah, they were kayaking out in the Pacific, and wham, they got swallowed by a freaking whale. That is terrifying. That's Legend of Jonah shit. You know, Pinocchio was like, this is not my first rodeo in a humpback whale. 2 kayakers escaped uninjured when they briefly ended up in the mouth of a humpback whale. Uninjured, thank God. Wow, of a humpback whale that surfaced beneath them. Julie McScorley and Liz Cortriel said they were kayaking and whale watching Monday off the coast of Olivia Beach when the whale surfaced from underneath their boat. A video recorded by a witness shows the women in the kayak in the whale's mouth before they all disappeared under the surface of the water. Oh my God! McSorley told KMPH-TV, "I saw the big pool of fish. The big bait ball came up out of the water." So you see all these little like bait fish snapping all around you, all up in the water. And then I saw the whale come up. I thought, oh no, it's too close. All of a sudden I was lifted up and I was in the water. The pair said they ended up capsized in the water as the whale left them behind. The video makes it appear as though the women were being swallowed by the whale, but they were considerably larger than the animal's usual diet of krill and small fishes. McSorley and Cortriel made their way back to shore uninjured. Gosh, that's just... Oh, that reaffirms one of my fears of being swallowed by something. You know, being like, oh man, gets me all jacked up thinking about it. Oh, getting swallowed by a freaking whale. I've watched a lot of YouTube rabbit holes, you know, where you start watching one video on YouTube and then you go through like tutorials of something entirely different, the rabbit hole. And I watched one not too long ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, that was talking about could you survive in the belly of a whale? Because I was just thinking about the anatomy, how big they are, and like, you know, dinosaurs, and looking at prehistoric creatures, the evolution of whales, the evolution of Leviathan, which is this huge whale that had these giant teeth that were like the size of freaking boulders. It was a toothed whale. It was a fascinating prehistoric creature. But just being swallowed by one of those things, and what would it be like in the stomach of it, like Fantastic Voyage shit, or would you just be dissolving into pitch black? Like, oh man, spooky shit. And I'm glad those kayakers survived. Wow, that is pretty terrifying. There are stories. Oh man, there was one about like in the 18th century or something. A privateer or someone got shipwrecked and he got swallowed by a whale, and he wound up inside the mouth of the whale for like 3 days before it spit him out. 25 miles off course or something like that. It was a terrifying tale, and there's no way to actually cross-reference it. It could just be like some guy saying, "Oh, swallowed by a whale," and really he was just, pissed drunk off rum in the middle of the ocean of the Caribbean. That's not a pirate accent. It's a Beatles. Yeah. Let's move back to the worldwide world of sports or something. I don't know. I really haven't figured out a method to any of these articles or stories that I read. I usually go to UPI.com or CNN or NPR and just look for odd news or happenings over the week, anything strange. Typically, weekend news, because that's what I want to do, is this Soccermom's weekend wager or something like that. I don't know. But this one is, this will be our last story. I'm losing steam here. It says, 100-year-old disc golf player breaks Guinness World Record with a long throw. Isn't that great? I love disc golf. Yeah, it's something I do. It's frolfing, as the pros call it. Friends have played it for a while, and they got me hooked on it, and now I'm starting to play it all the time. 100-year-old California man who took up disc golf at the age of 90. So he didn't start throwing frisbees and banging chains until he was 90, which is awesome. And he lobbed a disc a distance of 189 feet Don Shin, of a South Korean native and former judo instructor, so you know this guy is fit. He took up disc golf to keep active, which is great. It's fun to hike around. It's fun to throw these. They're different than regular frisbees. It's not just throwing a regular frisbee. It's harder. It's more difficult. He took it up to keep active, and he threw a disc 189 feet. A new Guinness World Record for the over 100 age bracket. I didn't know there was actually a different bracket for old people. It's so nice for me to keep practicing because it makes me strong, Shin told KSWB-TV. Not only physically, but mentally as well. Turning Frolf into a mind game. I like that. Shin said he is proud of his world record, but he feels like he can beat it again. Yeah, that's the spirit. I like this guy. In order to achieve what I have in mind is to just keep practicing, he said. If I do a little better, I'm happy more than anything else. That's a positive statement there to end on, and I think I really want to do that, is just keep your heads up no matter what happens. In order to achieve whatever you have in mind, whatever it is you want, just keep at it. Don't give up. Might be hard right now. Some people may still be furloughed, laid off. I know some people that lost their houses. I know some people that got new ones. Everybody's in their own situation right now. And it may not be the one they like, but you just gotta keep going. Yeah, so that was something new. It was something different. Hopefully you found something you didn't know about, or some kind of new fascinating thing to read later. I don't know. I didn't really pick too many. They weren't very interesting articles, but they're just kind of things I like. That's what this is going to be. Things that I found interesting. I mean, a lot of the time I'd get to the end of an article and then I'd see 4 or 5 suggested articles, and I usually pick the one that was interesting or didn't have anything to do with politics. I don't know. Maybe we will cover some topics like that in the future. And I'm not really sure how to do this series or how to close it or anything about how to run this. So if you have suggestions or anything, just email me, or if you want to hear a story or you found an article that's really neat and you want to hear it by next Sunday, let me know. I'll try updating and posting these every Sunday or Monday. I don't know. We'll get around to it. Again, stay fresh, everybody. Keep awake. Don't fall asleep. Sleep with one eye open. Don't be swallowed by a whale. And just remember that whales are real, man. And they'll swallow you.